Good night, everyone, and welcome to the Lall Show. I am the moderator for tonight's proceedings. Now, usually, the publisher of Kaieteur News, Lall, tends to talk about the management of your wealth, of your natural resources, and your finances. Tonight, we're going to delve a little away from that to talk about a very important issue that has been on the front page of our newspaper today. Spanish woman raped, sodomized, battered as neighbor rushed to get help. This story has made the waves because it has been shared so many times across social media and read, and there has been quite an uproar about it. So we have to get into the many issues that have intersected with the abuse of this woman and the circumstances that led to this attacker, this serial rapist, being arrested, and he's going to be charged, we understand. So, Mr. Lall, I will pivot to you first so you can address the public, giving them your thoughts, your initial thoughts on the matter.
Thank you, Kim.
I'm so sorry. Let me just introduce the panel who will be discussing the issue with us today. I have to my left my colleague, Michaela Prince, who is a journalist at Kaieteur News. We have a social activist with us tonight, Miss Melly Mel, you would know her as. We have another staff of Kaieteur News, Miss Nalini Barker, and other persons who will be joining us throughout the conversation. So, Mr. Lall, I go to you.
Thank you, Kimal, and a special good night to all Guyana. There is so much happened over the weekend that I didn't know where to begin. But something that is very important, you need to know, that made me feel good before yesterday when I read and we reported on this Venezuelan woman that was raped, sodomized, and brutalized. The most important thing for me over the weekend, other than this, was the opposition calling for a united front to ensure a better deal with ExxonMobil. I think things like this, if we get a better deal and we get money in our pockets, all Guyana, even to the Spanish people who are running here to make a living, money would have been going into their pockets, and they would not have had to go about working in the sex field for making $1 to send for their children back in Venezuela. I have prepared my presentation, but because of the telephone calls, the emails, the messages I have received on this brutal incident of rape of a foreigner, it really drives me into pushing back my programs from starting Wednesday. So I just want to tell you guys that we'll have a frank discussion on what's taking place in Guyana. The program that we are about to talk about, I think it supersedes tonight's program, and I just want to get going with that. It's sickening, it's inhumane for anyone to treat a woman like that. I have to read, or someone has to read this story for you. And after listening to the story, then you'll hear more of what the neighbors, the residents had to say about this man that is now arrested for sodomizing and brutalizing that Spanish girl. So could you please read that story just in case the listeners didn't get a chance to buy it and read the newspaper? Go ahead.
I felt as if my life was leaving my body.
Joshua, I just wanted to let persons know who will be listening to it. This story has very graphic depictions of sexual and physical violence. So there are persons who may have had experiences that would incline you to maybe turn down or move away from your radio if you cannot stand to listen to this story, because it is very, very descriptive.
Very
Go
well.
ahead, Joshua.
I felt as if my life was leaving my body, but I could not leave my 3 children motherless. So I kept fighting to survive. I had to escape alive. Those are the words of a Venezuelan woman, 30, who was on Wednesday last raped, sodomized, and battered as neighbors watch on in horror. Helpless, weak, traumatized, and in severe pain, she called out for help as she ran and held on to a man and an old woman standing in front of the house. As she sat down with Kaieteur News reporters and translator yesterday to tell her story, her eyes filled with tears as she recounted being lured into and trapped by a man she now calls a monster. The woman said that she was standing not too far from a club located at the corner of Robb and Cummins Street, Georgetown, smoking a cigarette. Around 22:30 hours, she said a man she sees around pulled up beside her in a small grey car. She said that she met the man a few times before in the club and that he seems to be a nice person. We exchanged greetings and he offered me a job, a sex work, she said. I agreed, she continued, and he invited me into his house. I was a bit skeptical and afraid to go at first, but he insisted, and I went into his car and left with him. The woman said that they did not chat much during the journey, but he had tried to touch her while driving. I told him no, that is not my job. She started to become a bit suspicious. Nevertheless, she brushed her feelings aside since, based on previous conversations, he presented himself as a decent individual. He said that he was single and had no kids, and his family lived overseas. She did not know where they were going, but recalled entering a street with some heavy-duty machines parked at the entrance. There were also trees there as well. It looked like some grape trees, she described. They drove for a while, she related, and then arrived at his home. His yard was really big, and there were some construction materials, block, cement, etc. in front of his white wooden house. She explained that she entered and sat down in a chair where she lit another cigarette to smoke, while he went to prepare his room. He reportedly returned shortly after and told her to accompany him. She said she followed, but while entering the room, noticed 2 knives placed on a table and became a bit nervous. He told me to get naked. Before doing so, I requested my payment and he gave me $10,000. She said the man paid her, after which she took off her clothing and told him to lie down, to which he responded, "No, you lie down on the bed and take off your bra." The woman said she agreed, and then they began to have sex. During the act, however, she recalled him becoming violent towards her. The condom broke and I told him, "Stop." He asked why, and I said I only have 1 more condom, and if that break, we cannot continue. I will have to leave. The woman said he agreed and they continued for a while, but that things started to turn ugly. She recalled being tossed on the bed while he took off the condom and went outside in a rage. She became scared, she recounted, and sat up on the bed where she attempted to pick up her clothes, but the man returned with a knife. He grabbed me by my hair, placed the knife to my neck and said, "You ain't leaving here till I done. You can't take my money. I ain't done with you, I tell you." The man began raping and sodomizing her brutally at knife point, she recalled. He pushed me on my knees and forced to push his thing in my mouth. As the woman broke down in tears, she recalled that he told her, "If you bite my thing, I will stab you in the neck." He repeatedly raped me until I became weak and I couldn't take it anymore. She begged and begged him to stop, but he slapped her and told her to shut up. I begged and I begged. I said I cannot go anymore and I need water to continue. I am thirsty. It was at this point, the woman said, he stopped and let her to go for some water. She recalled grabbing her clothes soon after and using her fist to punch through the louver window in his bedroom. With clothes in her hands, she jumped through and fell on her back, the woman recalled. I got up and ran. He came after me with his knife, held me by my hair and dragged me through the yard, she said in tears. The woman relayed that he attempted to stab her, but she had held on to the knife. Her hands were slashed along with other parts of her body. She recalled that as she battled for survival, her attacker said these words, "I will kill you. You will be my 24th victim. I've done this many times before, and you will be no different." She begged him, she said, "Please don't kill me. I have children. Please don't." The man reportedly continued to slash her while saying, "I don't like Spanish women, and I will wipe them out." Somehow, she said, the knife fell out of his hands, and he resorted to crushing her head with a concrete block that was nearby. I couldn't give up. I kept on fighting and managed to dodge the blow and ran a short distance away before he attacked me again. This time, the man jumped onto the top of her and began pounding away mercilessly, she told Kaieteur News reporters. Her scream, she recalled, alerted neighbors who came out, but as they tried to intervene, he shouted, "This is me, woman. Y'all stay out of this." They watched on, she related, as he choked and punched her repeatedly to her face. I felt as if my life was leaving my body, but I could not leave my 3 children motherless, so I kept fighting to survive. I had to escape alive. She recounted gathering enough strength to slide out of his grip, making one last attempt to escape. She ran. In desperation, she jumped over a fence and collapsed. A woman, she recalled, upon seeing her condition, ran to get help. Coincidentally, a police patrol was passing by in relation to another incident in the area. When that woman summons them, the patrol ranks stopped. I couldn't see properly because my face was bloodied, but upon seeing policemen